Mr. R wanted us to learn, and I, Margery Price.
And I, Mackenzie Markham, from his 6th period chemistry class, have learned to an A level the following concepts from the first chapter of our chemistry book. In Chapter 1, Intro to Chemistry, I learned about the 5 traditional types of chemistry: organic chemistry, analytical chemistry, biochemistry, inorganic chemistry, and physical chemistry.
And in Chapter 1, I'll remember the effect that chemistry has on our world and things like our industries and our medicine and life in general. In Chapter 2, Matter and Change, I'll remember the differences between a homogeneous mixture like water and a heterogeneous mixture like salad.
And in Chapter 2, I will remember learning about the states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas. In Chapter 3, Measurements and their uncertainty, I learned about accuracy, precision, and error in the scientific process.
In Chapter 3, I'll remember the SI units of measurement, which are the mole, the kilogram, the Kelvin, the meter, and the second. In Chapter 4, Atomic Structure, I'll remember the inspiring story of the Greek philosopher Democritus, who first suggested the idea of atoms, and many people didn't believe his theory, but he stuck to his guns, and he was right.
And in Chapter 4, I learned about the 3 types of subatomic particles, which are electrons, protons, and neutrons. Oh, and in Chapter 5, Models of the Atom, I enjoyed learning the 3 rules: the Aufbau principle, the Pauli exclusion principle, and Hund's rule, and how they will tell you how to find electron configurations of atoms.
In Chapter 5, I learned about the really cool electron configuration shapes that can be made. And in Chapter 6, the periodic table, I learned from the story of Dmitri Mendeleev, if you work hard and are dedicated to what you do, you can overcome a tough background or situation and become important, like making the periodic table.
And in Chapter 6, I enjoyed learning about, or seeing the periodic table. In Chapter 7, Ionic and Metallic Bonding, I learned about how metal atoms are arranged in very compact and orderly patterns.
I learned in Chapter 7 about the awesome crystals made by ionic bonds like franklinite and aragonite. And in Chapter 8, Covalent Bonding, I will remember how covalent bonding occurs to meet the electron configurations of the noble gases.
In Chapter 8, I learned about how molecular formula shows how many atoms of each element a molecule contains. In Chapter 9, Chemical Names and Formulas, I learned about how the name of binary ionic compound is the cation name followed by the anion name.
Chapter 9 taught me that prefixes and suffixes really do matter. If you mix them up or use the wrong substance or formula, it can have a really serious effect on your experiment or procedure. Chapter 10, Chemical Quantities, taught me the importance and relevance of Avogadro's number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd power.
In Chapter 10, I learned about how the atomic mass of an element expressed in grams is the mass of a mole of the element. Lastly, in Chapter 11, Chemical Reactions, I learned about the 5 general types of reactions, which are combination, decomposition, single replacement, double replacement, and combustion.
Chapter 11 taught me that it's not just the elements or compounds in a chemical reaction that are important, it's the catalysts too. Depending on how you look at it, this could stand as a metaphor. Even though you're not the big deal, you still matter and will make an influence without even realizing it. This semester has been really fun, and we learned a lot, and it was awesome. And
it was really fun.
Yeah, and we're excited for next semester and cannot wait to see what awesome things are in store.
Who's this?